Jessica with Chapter Chicks, and I am here to do a book review today over Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This book was released March 22nd of 2011 by Philomel Publishers. It is a standalone novel, and there are 344 pages in the hardback edition. I've kind of been thinking about changing up how I'm reviewing books like Stacy did. She just kind of gives it a good, an average, or a bad, I think. And I think I'm going to do that too, because when I'm doing the written reviews, it's a lot easier to break it down in a graded form, because I'm like thinking textually. And when I'm doing a video review, it's a lot easier for me to just say whether or not I liked it or whether or not I didn't. And Stacy started doing that and I really liked it, so I'm just going to say whether or not I recommend a book, whether I really recommend a book, or whether I think a book is stupid, pretty much. And I recommend this book. So it's good, but it's like, oh hi Juno. Oh hi, I didn't see you there. I didn't know that you wanted love. So this book, it was good, but it's not something I would recommend to everyone. It's something that you have to be in the mood for. So like I said, recommended. This is about a girl named Lena who is a young girl in World War II. She's a young Lithuanian girl. One day, she's just at home. Her parents have been acting strange lately, and people from the Soviet Union, or the Soviet Guard, or however you say it, I don't know, like the proper, I think it's the Soviet Union, but I don't know. They come into her house and they take away her entire family. They give them, I think, like 5 minutes to pack their things and say that they have to come with them immediately. So they all grab as much stuff as they can. They try to grab food, and they're taken away to work in labor camps. She is taken with her mother and her brother, and her father is actually separated from her like almost right away. So she's just with her mother and her brother and all these other strange people on this train being taken to this labor camp. So in order for Lena to keep contact with her father in such a horrible, horrible condition, she draws out everything that has been happening to her. She draws out all the places that they go, all the main events that happen, and she tries to pass those along as messages to her father, as cryptid messages to her father, so that one day they can find each other again. This book is a historical fiction novel, and from what I've heard from other people, from what I've heard from Stacy talking, and Stacy actually talked to Ruta a lot about the book, so she knows a lot more about it than I do because she got it as an ARC. And what Stacy has told me is that Lena, the main character, is not real, but everything that happens to her on this adventure is stuff that happened to real people. Like Ruta Sepetys went through and researched and got real life encounters of all of these people and wrote this into the story. And so while Lena's not real, all of the events are real, and that is just so awful to me, because the reason that this is not well known is because all the people that it happened to are still scared that if they say something, if they speak out about what happened, that they'll be punished for it. And I think that's so awful. This horrible thing happened and nobody knows. And it's pretty much around the same time as the Holocaust. I'm not sure, I think it might even be during the Holocaust. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a history major and know that, because I haven't paid attention to any of it since high school when you learned about it. But everybody knows about the Holocaust that I know, and I've never even heard that the Lithuanian people went through this, and it's so sad to me. And so it's really hard for me to judge this book, because I liked it, but then I hate saying that I liked it, because these real things really happened. This is not entertainment. It shouldn't be entertainment. It should be for an educational purpose. And that's kind of how I was looking at it when I was reading it, because how can I judge whether or not this horrible, tragic event is good entertainment? You know what I mean? So that was really hard for me to rate it. But I tried it best I could, and like I said, I gave it a recommended rating. The reason that this kind of got a recommended instead of a really recommended was because you really have to be in the mindset to read it. You can't want a happy ending, a hopeful story, because you're not going to get it with this. And I wish I didn't read it when I was pregnant, just because of some of the stuff that happens. And so if you're pregnant, don't read this book until you're done being pregnant, or ever, because I read it eventually. But it's just it's so tragic, and I wasn't really in the mood to read about tragedy, so it was kind of a little bit more difficult for me to get through than I would have liked. But that's just because it's one of those books, I love happy-go-lucky romances, paranormal romances, things like that. And real books are a lot harder to read and review. So it was kind of hard for me to read. I thought the way that Lena used her art to try to contact her father was a really good part of the story. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the story because she still held on to who she was throughout all this awful stuff. And that was kind of the only glimmer of hope for me. And like I said, I need glimmers of hope in books for me to like them. And she used this art, her given talent, to document what was happening to her, so someone one day would find it, even if it didn't end up being her father, and would know what happened to this poor family. Lena's mother was by far my favorite character in the whole story. She was so strong, and she took care of people she didn't even have to take care of. The whole story that she, like the whole part of it, the whole thing that she was in, she took care of this family, and I thought her family and all the people around her, and I thought that was amazing. And like, there's so many people could result to being selfish in that situation and not sharing the little things that they do have, not caring about others, dropping courtesy. And honestly, I don't feel like I would be one of those people who were constantly worrying about other people more than myself. And seeing her doing that, being such a strong character, constantly thinking of others, was amazing for me. It was really inspirational, and I loved her character. Okay, so as far as the writing goes, I think Ruta Sepetys did an amazing job. She held nothing back in this story, and I loved that, because if you're going to tell this story, then it needs to be told not in a cookie-cutter way. And she really didn't hold anything back that I know of, and I love that she told it so honestly and so raw. And I think that that made it as good as it was. And this is also a really good book for furthering your education, because like I said, I didn't even know that this happened to the Lithuanian people. I feel like sometimes I always feel so shallow because I just read YA. So when I got to read this book that really had real events happen and was a true story and all this stuff, really I felt like more rounded off. And I like that a lot. That's pretty much all I have to say about this book. Definitely, like I said, I recommend it. But you have to be in the mood for a story that's like this, and don't be like looking for some paranormal romance that leaves you with happy feelings at the end, because you won't get it. I'm Jessica with Chapter Chicks. This is my review of Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, and this chapter was for you.